Okay, lawn lovers, this one is for you. We're talking lawn renovation and what are the steps to renovate a lawn once you have problems. Okay, so we're out here in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and this is one of the lawns I posted back that had grubs. Now, one of the things we determined when we get out here is the thatch had started to build up. Now, I've talked about this in other videos. Thatch is basically this layer that's not really roots, it's not really shoots, it's this weird layer right in between, and it just binds up moisture when it's raining, it binds up fertilizers, grub controls, and it really just stops all the products that we're applying on the lawns from doing their jobs. So it has no difference between organic or synthetic. It's really just a matter if you have a thatch layer in there, no matter what you're doing is kind of a waste of time. So the first thing you do is, how do you determine if you have a thatch buildup? Now, the first thing we do is we walk over the lawn and we stop walking. If the grass feels nice and firm under your feet, it should. That's a sign that you do not have a thatch buildup. However, if your lawn is good and thick, and we routinely get customers saying, I don't want to do anything to my lawn, it's nice and soft underneath my feet and it's cushiony. That cushion is almost like a carpet, and that's exactly what's going on. You have this barrier of thatch underneath there, and you need to get that out to get the lawn going through and working properly. Plus, it's virtually root pruning of the grass that is going to slice down through it and rip up all that thatch and pull it out. So you're pulling a lot of material out of the property. And since the crew are out here doing a little renovation, I wanted to show you the pieces of equipment that I find successfully lead to a full renovation. Now, this is a freshly thatched yard, and so you can see it's not really bad, but we can definitely see some thin spots, and we can definitely see some, it's just not a picture perfect lawn. Well, it wasn't a picture perfect lawn in the first place because the thatch was building up, but it was much better than it is now. That's because it's temporarily, when you thatch, going to look worse before it gets better. And that's because this is a thatcher. And by nature, what this is almost like a walk behind mower, but I propped it up so you can see what's going on underneath. All these little blades. So instead of a lawnmower, the blades are going horizontally. These are just going flat, and there's two rows of them, a top layer and a bottom layer. Now that machine is going to be going over the lawn, and it's just slicing down inside it. But the blades are blunt on one side, so they're designed to rip up the debris and get down underneath it. So once we have that done, that pulls up all this stuff, but then you have to rake it up. One trick that I have found for a lot of people is, I guess this is an example of what you're pulling out. Now, this is a small yard, there's more of this, but sometimes we go into yards and it's just layers and layers of it's just grass and roots and all of that debris that comes up. But one trick we do is mow the grass short in the first place. Then what you're pulling off is going through. Then once you thatch it, all this debris is going to come up onto the surface. And you sometimes have to do it 2 times. We'll do it once in one direction, once in the other direction, and then sometimes even have to go over it a 3rd time. So it is a very tedious, laborious process. But the key is mow your lawn first, and then you can actually use the lawnmower to pick up the clippings afterwards. I do not bag it, it's too thick. We'll just use the chute, push all the grass to one side, and then do it into one channel, and then you just rake up that one spot. Because if not, you have to rake up the entire property. So once you have the thatch done, the next thing you're going to do is go over it with an aerator. Now, the aerators, this is a core aerator. Now, some of the less expensive homeowner grade aerators are just little tines that push down into the ground. These are actually going to take big old plugs out of it. And we're going to go over the whole lawn, and it's just going to take these little plugs out and drop them up on the surface. Now, the key when you're using an aerator, if you need to have plenty of moisture inside the grass. And so we do this after we thatch because it got rid of all that barrier in there. Then we're going to go through and go over with this aerator, and it's going to take all these plugs and plop them up on the surface. Kind of looks like goose poop sometimes all over the lawn. And so it's actually a really beneficial process because not only are we making a decent hole down inside the grass, which is then going to allow this soil to expand to fill that hole. And what that's doing is allowing all these pores for air to get into the soil to keep the roots happy. And so these plugs, these are going to disintegrate pretty fast. Especially since once we're done, we're going to go over this with one more machine. I never just walk around and just broadcast seed over my grass. We go over with a lawn renovator. This is virtually like a thatcher, that we looked at before, except it has a hopper in the front for grass seed. So we're going to go over it. What the final step is going to be to go over this lawn with this machine, and it's going to drop seed, and then it's going to have more blades that are going to slice through all these grass clippings and get down into the soil where the grass needs to stay. Now that's the basic steps for every lawn. I find it all cookie cutter. Usually we start off with a soil test, make sure that everything chemically is going on okay with the lawn. Then we thatch it, get all that thatch out of the way. Then we go over with an aerator, getting oxygen into the soil and pulling it up from there. Then we go over with the slice seeder, and that's depositing that seed right down into the grass so it doesn't move around on us when we get the rain. And in the fall in New England, this is the best time of year to plant anything, but especially grass seed. And so my mindset is, even if that grass seed gets in there, and we've done this sometimes into late October, beginning of November, depending on the mild season, I'd rather just see my grass seeds start to sprout in the fall and let the roots develop. And then go first thing in the spring when the weather cooperates, that grass is starting to run really fast and grow really fast, because I want good root establishment before it's going to go through the summer drought. That's the key to lawn renovation. Now, one more thing to look at is what to do if you have complete bare patches. So back here, the guys have gone over everything with the big machines, and then but we had some bad pockets of grub damage. Well, when we started running that thatcher over, it just pulled everything up and it was just bare. So we're going to go over this, and we just take the Costa Maine lawn soil and we spread it out nice and thin over the empty holes, just making it smooth. We're not looking to build up the entire barrier and to get it up nice and high. What you're trying to do is just get good seed to soil contact. That means we're just spreading grass seed enough, not to mound it, not to do anything crazy with it, just a thin layer. So when those areas, we're just going to broadcast that seed by hand or with a spreader, get a nice thin layer of grass seed in there, and then we're going to go over it with a rake. And the key is take the rake and put it upside down. If you drag a rake, we need to mix the seed with the soil, but we don't want it deep. So what we do is we actually take it and leave the tines up, and then drag that rake over it upside down, and it just kind of folds the seed in with the soil. And therefore we get good seed to soil contact, and then ideally tamp it down with your feet, or take a lawn roller, an empty lawn roller. We don't want to compact the soil, but we want to tap that seed down into the soil so it's nice and firm. And then it's water, water, water. The key with any renovation is in the fall, Mother Nature will help. But usually time is of the essence. We want it germinating as fast as we can, and especially these areas that are bare like this. We want that germinating as quick as we can before we get another deluge. This year we've been getting one heavy rain after another. So the key is to get that seed germinating fast. And that means you can water 2 or 3 times a day, maybe only 5 or 10 minutes, just enough to keep the surface constantly moist if you have the time. If you're on any kind of slope, I would suggest a small thin layer of mulching straw over the top, but that's it. Once everything is done, you could put down your lime. You could put down, in this particular case, we're putting grub killer down, we're putting lime down, we're putting a starter fertilizer, and then all of this can be done in the same time, in the same day. It's all compatible with each other. And then it's water, water, water. And that's it. The steps are simple. We'll talk about what to do later on once the grass is germinating, but the key is proper prep and then lots of water. Hope that helps. Take care.